That's just merchandising furniture. I've been merchandising all kinds of things for 20 years, and I can merchandise furniture. But I never really thought too much about it in the way that I could do it, only because I watch the shows on HGTV and I see what they do, and I'm thinking, you would have to have an interior degree to do that. Well, I found out that you don't have to have an interior degree to do that, but it is really smart to get an education in it, because it's quite psychological, which brings me to why I'm going to put on my lab coat. Because what I'm going to be talking to you about this morning is psychological and scientific. And the reason I say it's psychological is because the process of merchandising is merchandising furniture, accessories, art, your accents, to show off the home's architectural benefits. When people walk through a home that's empty, even if it's clean and well painted, they have trouble connecting to it. They don't get that lifestyle, emotional connection. The same thing with an occupied home. If you're selling your home and you have all your stuff all over the place, people get really involved as they walk through the home with your stuff, whether it's your personal pictures, your clutter, your love of hot pink, your velvet Elvis picture, whatever it is that you think is cool, they're being distracted by it. So therefore, they're not really seeing the home for what it is. And staging is a 3-step process. We start with a consultation. The consultation is not about their decor. The consultation is actually about the condition. So the condition is addressed. Any maintenance issues are addressed. Of course, the depersonalizing, the declutter, painting. If roof or repairs need to be done, that's addressed. And then after that, your step 2 is the work. So the homeowner can choose to do the work themselves. We can resource it out. There's a lot of you here that I can resource to. The work gets done. Then the 3rd step is actually showcasing. We call it showcasing. That's what you guys know as staging. That's where we come in and the magic happens. The furniture is placed in, the accessories are placed properly. There's science to it in the way that there's a certain color flow. You just don't throw things together, and we'll talk about that when I talk about the color. And that's where the magic happens. And actually, if you don't do this part, you're really missing the boat. You're really missing the boat, because that's where people emotionally connect to the home. And people don't fall in love with the house, they fall in love with the idea of living there. So it's very emotional and psychological. The benefits to the seller of staging, the number 1 benefit is staged homes normally sell for asking price or more. Your pictures look great, which are extremely important in this day and age, because people are going to go to the internet first and look at your pictures. You don't have to have that crunch of, okay, now we got a contract and now we got a closing date, and now I have to run around and pack all my stuff and decide what I'm going to keep and what I'm not going to keep. When you stage, all that's already been done, so there's no pressure there. I can go on and on and on about the benefits for the seller. There's also benefits for the buyer. Buyers, 63% of buyers just want to move in. They want to close on Friday, move in on Saturday, meet the neighbors on Sunday, and send the kids to school on Monday. So when they see a staged home, it appears well maintained. It's ready to move in. They don't have to worry about the painting or the repairs. Staged homes tend to appraise higher than unstaged homes. There's all kinds of benefits. I have them written down. But you know what? I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that today, because I know you want to get to the color thing. Some of the stats. I will go over some of the stats for you, because they're very interesting. Unstaged homes spend an average of 184 days on the market. If they're taken off the market and then staged, they usually sell within about 41 days. However, if you stage a home prior to going on the market, and what's important to know is your 5 to 10 days after your home is listed is when it's going to get the most interest and the most traffic. 23 days. So if you stage first, it stays on the market 90% less time. Spends 90. Let me reword that. Stage first, 90% less time on the market. Okay. As you all, a lot of you guys know, I'm going through a color for selling and dwelling course. I've learned that color can be very scientific. It is very scientific. It's been really interesting. I will be taking my test this week, and hopefully I'll pass so I can get my certification in that. The first thing I learned is, have you ever walked into a room and you look around and you're not sure why you're uncomfortable? The reason that is because every color in the color wheel has a warm and a cool tone to it. And in a home, you have fixed elements that are warm and cool. So let's say you walk in a home and the floor, my home is a golden oak floor. So that's probably 70% of the color of my home. That's a warm tone. So what happens is if I start bringing in cool elements, they fight each other. If I paint my walls a cool color, it fights each other. And you sit back and you go, but that color looks so good at the store, why don't I like it? That's why. So what's really important is to stay with your tone. I don't want to get off track of this because then it'll just get confusing. All right, so going with that is every color in the color wheel has a warm tone and a cool tone. Let's say you love blue, you want your bedroom to be blue. That's cool, but it's important that you choose a cool blue and not a warm blue and not a cool blue. Your cool elements, let me give you an example, are brushed nickel on hardware. Your warm tone is like the dark brass. That's a warm tone. Your cool tones in your floors are your very, very dark, like the chocolate woods. Your warm tones in the woods are like the golden oak. Okay? Why do we do color consulting? Well, there's such a thing called color phobia, a paralyzing malady that leads people to live in a bland, colorless environment of contractor cream or builder beige. Most folks really, quite frankly, are confused about color. And that's why, because most of us just don't understand about the undertones, and the undertones are very important. There's adjusting color for natural light. So if your room faces north, you get a cool gray cast. If your room faces south, you get a warm orange cast. If you want to paint a dark hallway over a room that's full of light, there's light reflective numbers on the back of each of your color swatches. And those numbers reflect high to low. So in a hallway where it's dark, you would want to paint a color that's a high reflective. In a room that's full of light, you would want to keep that low reflective. So it's all very scientific. Another thing is the artificial lighting. We're going from watts to lumens now. Watts is electricity, lumens is brightness. So if your elements in your home are cool based, you want to stay with that daylight cool bulbs. If your home is warm based, warm undertones, you want to stay with that iridescent candlelight warm light. So again, like I said, you can see it's very scientific, it's very psychological. That's just touching on it, of course. And does anybody have any questions?
When can you start?
When can I start?